To chapter 3 now in objective 10 and working with these cultural diversity groups. Tends to be a big buzz in our business right now, and education is working with these because of that rate of immigration into our country. Well, let me just quickly tell you about this and what I need to have you do. And in this, working with groups, there's a little bit here on focusing on yourself that I want you to read. And you're going to have to read all this to really be up on where you need to be. But this focusing on yourself and focus on children children's culture. But where I want to start today is on this part of cultural diversity, and I find this to be very interesting. And here it just tells you a little bit about cultural diversity. And let me tell you what I know about this, and that is other than if you're a Native American in this country, your ancestor was an immigrant at one time. And so once I come to grips with that, I understand why that there's still an attraction in this country. It's still the best country in the world to live. And if people get a chance, they'll do anything. They'll risk their life to get here. They'll ride in cans and boats and stuff for the opportunity to work and live in this country and have what we have. What that means to you as a teacher, though, you'll have some people landing and showing up in your classrooms that are new to this country. Now, if they're not, if they're like you and I are now here for many generations, they've been watered down a little bit. But the ones that will present the most challenge to you in your classroom will be the most diversity will be ones that are what we call new immigrants. So please read this about the cultural diversity things, and I want to point out something else to you over here. And that comes right here, and that is most of the new arrivals, about 85% of the foreign-born are legal residents. 85%. Of this group, 78% of the children attend school in 5 states: California, Illinois, Texas, New York, and Florida. Okay. The thing is, that's changing so rapidly to include more. Schools will find an increased number of students as well as children from many countries. It is projected that the number of children in school will grow from 34 million in 90 to 42 million by 2010. Of course, of these, 9 million will be children of immigrants. So by the year 2010, 22% of the kids in our schools will be immigrants. They'll be first or second generations. So school personnel should be aware of this coming. So that's what we know about immigration, and it creates some problems. And do you know this too? That even if you're an illegal immigrant here in this country, you have the right to a FAPE, free and appropriate public education. Some people don't know that. So it's a cultural way of life, but here's where we're going to start today, is exploring your culture. And what I need you to do is just describe on your post what your background, what your heritage background is. For example, I'll tell you mine is almost exclusively German and just a little bit of Polish. My mother's side, my grandma, so it'd be my great-grandma, was full-born Polish. But my father's side was all German, and that was more common then than it is now, that people immigrated here, stayed in their communities segregated only by their background, and that's how they were. So it was not unusual that a German would marry and have family with another German. And now, of course, in our time, nobody pays any attention to that, but back then they did. So I want you to tell a little bit about your background. Now, I'll tell you, my wife's side is half Norwegian. That on her dad's side, her grandmother was a full-blood Norwegian, and her father was her grandfather on that side was German. So she has some Norwegian in her family. I have some Polish in mine, and so of course my children are quite confused about their background. So please investigate and post here about your heritage background.